Hello out there, this is Wakeangel2K1, and I'm very excited to have finally found this at my Toys R Us. I actually had to physically go back and get it from the back of house myself because the overnight crew didn't put them out in time. But it is finally the 25th anniversary classic Sonic 3-pack made by Tomy, including Sonic, Tails, and for the first time ever, classic Knuckles as 2.5-inch action figures. Now the box is a pretty nice affair. It's windowed on both the front, back, and top. All three, I should say. And with a nice blue lining on the inside. Now, I never really noticed this on any Tomy merchandise before, but what the heck is that? I never noticed that. Is this product endorsed by Girahim? What? But, weird hipster haircut face aside, it's actually a pretty nice box. I don't know how well this is gonna come out, but, hey, come on. The side of the box has artwork done in this really light silhouette, which I recognize as the stuff that they put in the strategy guides for the old Sonic games. And it's like all over if you look close enough. It's all over the place, but I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up because it's a really low contrast. So let's get these guys out of the packaging so that we can, get a look at their, their classic-y goodness. And here are the three figures outside the box, looking extremely nice with some glossy metallic paints. I actually wish they used this to make the Metal Sonic figure, but on these guys, it really makes them stand out and look like something special. So now, speaking of metal, they each have a commemorative coin. On the front of it is the character, and Sonic has 1991 for the year that he came out. And on the back is the 25th anniversary. I mean, they're a few months late, but at least they got it within the same year. The Tails coin has a very nice picture of him. I think I recognize these images. Like, once again, these are images based off of promotional art that actually existed way back when those games were still new. Tails has 1992, which is the release year of Sonic 2. And Knuckles, Knuckles is 1994. Now, I thought Knuckles was going to be 1993, which is the year that Sonic 3 came out and was Knuckles' first official appearance. But apparently they decided to go with 1994, which was when Sonic and Knuckles came out, making it the commemoration of the first game where he was actually a playable character in the story mode of the game. Yeah, I know he was technically playable in Sonic 3, but only in the multiplayer, and that doesn't really count. And you hear that clink? These are actual die-cast metal. So, yeah, those are real metal coins. And they're about the size of $50 if I were to compare it to anything, although they're much thicker than any coin you'd spend for currency. So, yeah, really nice commemorative metal coins. And now we're going to look at the figures themselves. Well, these are classic Sonic, classic Tails, and classic Knuckles. I mean, everybody knows what these characters look like. They are freaking iconic at this point. Just like the Sonic Boom characters, their hands are sculpted in this kind of open thing that, as if they're ready to hold accessories. Although they don't, aside from those coins, they don't really come with anything. Actually, do those coins fit in the hands? Let me give it a quick... Nope, the coins do not fit in the hands. That would have been funny. Oh well. So, let's take a look at the Knuckles figure because he's the new one. We didn't get a classic Knuckles back when Jazzwares held the license. So, this is kind of the big draw of the set for people that never had a Knuckles before. So, we have a head swivel. All the characters have the same articulation, so I'm just going to do the articulation rundown on one. We have a head swivel. In Knuckles' case, his dreadlocks hit his tail, so It would go 360 degrees around if that wasn't the case, but Tails and Sonic and Tails are the same way. Universal shoulder joints. So far so good, looking just like the Boom figures. Then, wrist rotation. So just like that, this guy surpasses the Boom characters. There is no waist joint, but he does have universal hips that go in every direction, and ankle rotation as well. So, so yeah, like, aside from the waist joint, he has all the same articulation that the Jazzwares figures had back in the 20th anniversary. So, this is actually far better articulation than the Boom characters from Tomy have, and it's pretty much on par with the figures released by Jazzwares. That being said, these characters are pretty simple, so I guess the only thing to do would be to compare them to their counterpart figures from the Jazzwares line. So let's do that, one character at a time. So here we are with the new classic Sonic. I love, he has all the details. He has the buckle on his shoe, he has 5 fingers, and his mouth is picked out with some very nicely applied paint. And oh, the paint on all 3 of these figures is fantastic. There's nothing that looks like it's too thin, showing plastic colors underneath, and there's no overspray. These are exceptionally well made. So we gotta compare Classic Sonic to Jazzwares Classic Sonic, and we can see he is significantly smaller. The Jazzwares Classic Sonic was well, you know what? Let me get a ruler so we can get some real numbers in here. So Tomy's Classic Sonic is just about 2¼ inches tall. Maybe you can say 2½ if you count the high point of his spine, but to the tips of his ears is 2¼ inches. Whereas Jazzwares' attempt made it up to 2¾ of an inch, almost 3 if you count the top part of his spine. So it is a smaller scaled Sonic figure. But although I can tell you right now, the classic Sonic figure made by Jazzwares, although it looks very nice, it has this terminal problem that because the head is solid plastic, it's very heavy. And as I leave it up on display, gradually, over the course of weeks, he either overpowers his leg joints and starts to slump forward, or he, if his leg joints don't give out, the plastic that makes his legs up, it gets physically bent. In order to prevent that from happening, I had to take a metal pin and impale it up through the leg to keep it stiff enough that that the figure won't slump forward. Although, like I said, the joints do still give out. Now, that being said, there is one issue I always had with the classic Sonic figure, and that had to do with scaling. Well, this classic Sonic, standing next to the modern interpretation, again, showing off that I have the Black Knight Sonic, hardy har har, it actually looks a lot better, more like the scale of how classic Sonic looks to regular Sonic in the Sonic Generations video game. So, stand classic Sonic next to modern Sonic, and you have the characters in proper scale to each other as they appeared in the video game. I really like that. It looks a lot better because you can see their faces are much closer to the same size. And just for completion's sake, let's throw in the Boom Sonic. So, we have all the generations. We have the classic Sonic, the modern Sonic, and the Boom Sonic standing side by side with a redundant classic. But yeah, like if you missed around on the 20th anniversary and you're having a hard time finding a classic Sonic figure, this is in terms of articulation, this guy is just one waist joint shy of matching him, and he scales better with the previous series, which, you know, that's pretty great. So let's move on to the other characters to compare them. Now, the Tails comparison is a little bit hard to tell at first. Because of the metallic paints they use for this, it's hard to tell if they're homaging the lighter fur tone that Tails used to have back in the day. I don't know if they went with a darker color or if it's just the metallics. But you can see that the characters actually do look a bit different this time. This Tails has a painted in smiley face, while this one has that cute little open mouth with the sculpted tongue. I honestly don't know which one I like better. They both look so great. Although this one does not have articulated tails. So there is that. Also, I guess I did find the tiny hints of overspray in his socks. And they didn't pick out the blue rings on his glove cuffs the way they did on the Jazzwares one. Okay, I guess the paint job isn't perfect, but I still give it a 95%. It's still more than satisfying. And bringing in the modern Tails for comparison. Well, Tails has always been a character that Jazzwares never quite scaled right because his action figure was always the same height as Sonic's, despite the fact that he really should have been shorter. So, I guess in relation, classic Tails to modern Tails is the right ratio. It's just that when you put them next to Sonic, they both look too tall. And once again, for completion's sake, here is Boom Tails, who is actually much closer to Tails' size, but that's only because Boom Tails is the first time they ever properly scaled Tails in the action figure line he was meant to be in. So this guy looking unusually short, just remember, it's not that he's short, it's that everyone else is too tall. But yeah, it's just really fantastic. So it's cool to see all these figures next to each other. Like I said, Jazzwares never got around to making a classic Knuckles, but you know, now that we have him next to a modern Knuckles, it actually does match Generation scale exceptionally well. Of course, Knuckles wasn't in Generations. I'm wondering if Classic Knuckles will make at least a cameo appearance in that upcoming Sonic 2017 project. If so, that would be kind of cool, because you gotta remember, when Jazzwares made the 20th anniversary line, the classic characters they brought out were Sonic, Super Sonic, Metal Sonic, Tails, Dr. Robotnik, and Amy Rose. And of that list, Amy Rose was the only one that got an action figure despite not appearing in Sonic Generations. Meaning, like, are they trying to make a Sonic Generations toy line? If so, then you don't need Amy. Are they trying to make a classic Sonic toy line? If so, they're missing Knuckles. But I digress. For completion's sake, of course, let's bring out the Boom Knuckles figure. This is the guy who had the most change in aesthetic, of course, with a completely different body proportions. You can see the difference between classic to modern, and then from modern to Boom. Although, you know, I gotta say the boom look has grown on me. I mean, it doesn't look quite as weird and alien to me now. Like at first, I would see him and I'd see Knuckles' head stuck on Storm the Albatross's body, but I think by now I've gotten used to it. I can see where they were going, but I still like the modern proportions, and of course the classic proportions. So even though I like him, he's still a third place aesthetic-wise to the other two. But still, it's great to finally have an official toy of the classic Knuckles. It's just too bad that he does not match scale with the Jazzwares line. So that means you can't just buy the classic Knuckles and then stick him next to the Jazzwares figures. Unless, I guess you could use forced perspective. Let's see, if you stood no. Yeah. Wait. The camera is just not set up. Hold on, let me try something. There we go. Using the magic of forced perspective, and making sure that your viewing angle is precisely on the level of the shelf that your figures would be displayed on, I have successfully made the classic Knuckles figure the proper height next to the classic Sonic figure from Jazzwares. Yeah! Of course, to accomplish this task... Yeah, that's quite a distance apart from each other. So these three figures are pretty darn fantastic next to each other. And you can find them at Toys R Us as a 3-pack for $20, which is a really good price point. It's a fantastic price for all three classic figures put together. Although that isn't your only buying option, of course. You can get each figure individually for $8. Of course, that means getting them that way would cost you $24 instead of only $20. And they are also available in comic book 2-packs. You can get Sonic and Knuckles packaged together with the Mecha Madness special. Kind of a weird decision for me, from my perspective, because if you're gonna... Why not pack them with the Sonic and Knuckles comic book special? Because that was a thing that got made. And then there is a Tails and Sonic 2-pack, which comes packaged with Sonic issue 25, which was their adaptation to Sonic CD. Again, another weird decision because Tails wasn't in the video game Sonic CD. Huh. Actually, that's weird because Sonic issue 25 and the Sonic and Knuckles 48-page special were released like within a couple weeks of each other. In fact, I think the Sonic and Knuckles special came out the very month before the Sonic issue 25 came out. I remember because the Sonic and Knuckles 48-page comic was the very first Sonic the Hedgehog comic book I ever purchased when I was 10 years old. I read it in class during a free period in the 5th grade. Why did they pick the Mecha Madness special instead of Sonic and Knuckles? That is going to bug me until the day I die. However, what's not going to bug me until the day I die is these three figures because they are just wonderful and I love them. So, yeah, you have options. Those comic book 2-packs are $17. If you... both issue 25 is one of the greatest early comics of the series. It was the first appearance of Metal Sonic, and it's a nice little bit of history because back then they didn't know what to call Metal Sonic, so in the comic book they call him Mecha Sonic, which after all these years in hindsight it's kind of funny. And the Mecha Madness special is the follow-up to issue 39, which is often heralded as the greatest comic book in the series' entire run. And, oh, wait, there's something I have to do about issue 39. Oh, Freedom, SatAM, FF. Oh, gosh, Damn, I still haven't made that Patreon video that he wanted me to make. Alright, I'm going to try to start scripting that, figure out what I'm going to do for it. Until then, head down to your local Toys R Us's, see if you can find these figures. They are fantastic for all fans, young and old. And I'm going to end this video with some pictures of the alternate packaging, just so you know what they look like. This is Wakeangel2K1 signing off.